Hello, 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 hello. I'm Lynn Browder, and I have a son, Owen, who is 13 and has autism. We paint together, working on his fine motor skills. He helps me paint the backgrounds of our paintings, and then I paint the rest. So, I've talked a lot about this recently. Is like a lot of times I like to use the word generally, and it's so much so that Owen is now saying generally. But I like to use I just eyeball things generally, and so when I'm trying to actually do something that kind of evens itself out, I have started to kind of use the ruler a little bit. And again, this is one of those things that in the big grand scheme of things doesn't even really matter, because somehow I always get into another realm. And I've made this up a little higher once again than I wanted it to be. So there's that. So we're just going to go for it. We're just going to do what we do and just go for it. You know, sometimes it doesn't really make that big of a difference where you start. So, to say I'm out of sorts is probably one of those generally out of sorts. Today was a 2-hour delay for Owen. They had, we had sleet-ish weather overnight, and all day today we are having on and off, depending on where you're at, snow. So our county quickly put into action a 2-hour delay, and quite frankly, I do believe they may be harder on Owen than having the entire day off, or maybe they're just harder on me. I'm not sure. But my amazing son does not get derailed on any conversation that he does not want to get derailed on. And I can tell you that I have tried. I have gotten a lot of expert advice, and the thing is, he is brilliant, and he knows so much. And the thing that kind of is another stepping stone with him is, with his brilliance comes the fact that he knows he's brilliant. And it's a wild, wild ride, because trying to stay ahead of a child that is beyond brilliant is very difficult, because it's, again, I mean, the things he knows, the things he comes up with, the things he explains, and when I'm saying this, My son, like, if you say, Owen, what's your name? He may not answer Owen. It may take him 20 times to say Owen. It may say Owen right away. It's not a matter of the fact that he doesn't know it. It's just the processing to say his name or to say what he is trying to say. So it's very much a wild ride, because trying to explain something to him, trying to keep him calm, trying to keep him like focused on something different or changing his moments in time. It's all a lot. And I mean, you know, I've had so many over the years. And honestly, the ones that have like said the most about are other parents of children with autism. And we got to stick together, people. Just because something works with someone else's child does not mean that it works with your child. And that is the thing that we have to understand. In general, again, generally, a lot of things can possibly work with our kids and with other kids and things. But everybody is different. So we can't just assume that everything is going to work the same way that it worked with our own child. So that's the part that sometimes is hard, is expectations from others when you know your person, you know what's going on. And I tell my mom, like, you know, the thing that always makes me happy is the fact that I'm not alone in this journey, knowing that he's brilliant, knowing that we have gone through so much together, and knowing that he has accomplished so many things. The doctors told me that he probably wouldn't talk. You know, that's one of the things, the specialists that we went to. Not only does my boy talk, but he knows many languages. In fact, I couldn't begin to guess how many languages he knows. And for all of you, like, may or may not be able to see this, but there's a tiny little green dot there. It's okay. When it's dried, I will either pop it off by just kind of scraping it, or put a tiny pink dot on top of it. I don't want to put my stuff that way because my stuff is going this way and it's a little dress and so forth and so on. So, I don't know that you can see it, but if you can, don't worry. It'll be happy one day. So, the moral of this long story is know that everyone is going through something similar, something different, something, but we must support each other in this journey. You know, there's so much to it, and we can't always like just help each other out, support each other, be in that moment, you know, and say, okay, well, this mama, this parent, this grandparent, this person, you know, let's support them in their journey and suggest things without saying, hey, you've been doing it wrong all this time. Because we're tired. We're tired and we want, if I could make Owen understand that a 2-hour delay is 2 hours, if that would be so beneficial to him, because he wouldn't be so stressed out. I have gotten every kind of clock I can possibly imagine to get. I am working with lots of different therapists, and his teacher's amazing with him to be able to work through it. And he's come so far. Like, he knows that he has to stay in bed until at least 5:00 in the morning. There's rules. He knows that if he's sick, he knows that he can come out if something's happening or this or that. He's learning those. But it's not an overnight, here's your story and this is how it happens. It's something that we have to go through a lot to get there. And so I want him to completely understand that he needs to know that he can be, in his room and sleep, or if he needs me, he can come get me. But just because he wakes up in the morning at 2:00 in the morning doesn't mean that he should have his tablet. So those are things we have to work on and been working on. And he's to that point, but we don't have enough 2-hour delays for him to fully grasp that. And so, that's a big part of what's going on with him, or what makes it hard for him. And so it's a matter of learning and figuring it out and explaining and working through it. But 2 hours this morning for him were an eternity. It was so incredibly hard on him to wait 2 hours. And I didn't tell him at first. I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited until the last possible moment to try to tell him that he, was having this 2-hour delay. But the closer and closer it got to the time that we were supposed to get ready, he figured it out. He didn't need me to explain to him that he was, waiting for the bus. And again, that is a lot of this process. And trying to explain that to him, the good news is he's learning to take deep breaths. He's learning to think through the process and learning to express himself and figure it out and deal with, the timing and all of that kind of stuff. So he's getting there, definitely getting there, but it's not exactly, easy for him to understand that things change, or that 2 hours because of snow. And then he worried, is he really going to get to go to therapy? Is he really going to get to do this? Is he going to do that? And I get it. But the more that I can remain calm, the more that I can teach him, the more that I can focus on his expectations, the easier it will become for him. And the word easier, easy, any of the variations, that is probably one of the hardest words for me to ever say when it comes to this, because easy, is it easy to explain this to him? Is it easy for him to get through, get over, get around, any other term you want to use? No, it's not. It's not easy for him. But it is amazing where he's at and what's happening and how far he's come. That is my miracle. Okay, so let's see here. I've done several of these now, and I kind of rushed this one because I just I have to go get oh, there we go. I have to go get Owen for his therapy. And I still have about 45 minutes before I have to be there, but there is snow on my car, and so I need to take care of that. So I just thought, oh, you know what? I have to get myself moving along so it doesn't look like a fancy dress. Maybe not. Anyways, okay. Well, I thank everyone for being a part of our journey, and I appreciate everyone's support through all of this. So we got O for Owen, and then L, and B. There we go. All right. Thanks so much for watching and being a part of our day. Toodles, toodles.